In this video, we'll be looking at question 1.3 from 5CO03. You should have read the scenario and know that this question is asking you to approach the topic of effective communication as a people professional, focusing on why it's important and what might happen if it's lacking. Before we dive into the approach, I need to remind you that this video provides general guidance on how to tackle this type of question. It doesn't give you the answers. You'll need to do your own research, analysis, and critical thinking. With that said, let's walk through how to approach this step by step. First, let's start by understanding exactly what the question is asking. You'll want to spot the command verb. Here, it's consider. That means you're expected to reflect thoughtfully and analytically. Don't just describe what good communication is. Instead, explain why informed, clear, and confident communication really matters for people professionals. The question is also going to expect you to explore two consequences if this communication style is missing, one for yourself and one for the organization in the scenario. So your focus needs to be on evaluating the impact, not just listing features of communication. All right, now let's talk about making judgments. You don't want to just describe things. You need to assess and weigh up the effectiveness and necessity of strong communication in HR or learning and development roles. Use evaluative phrases like, "This is critical for," "It can significantly undermine," or "It may adversely affect." Think about both the positives and negatives. For example, confident communication can boost your professional credibility and help the organization move forward. On the other hand, if you're not communicating well, you could lose influence or see inconsistent practices spread. Try to think from different perspectives too. What do managers need? What about directors? And always back up your points with logical reasoning. Now, on to planning your answer. Here's how you might want to structure it. Start with a short introduction, about 30 words, outlining why this type of communication is fundamental in people practice, especially considering the challenges in the case study. Then organize your main body into 3 sections. First, discuss the importance of effective communication for people professionals. Second, explore what could happen to you specifically if you're not communicating in this way. And third, look at a consequence for the organization if this kind of communication is missing. Aim for about 120 words in each section. Finish up with a brief summary, about 30 words, where you reinforce your main judgment. Make sure each paragraph addresses the question directly, uses evidence, and always circles back to the scenario. Keep the assessment criteria close at hand. You want to make sure your analysis shows that you understand the people professional's role, not just following orders, but influencing, giving expert opinions, and representing the HR or L&D function. Take a look at frameworks like the CIPD profession map and think about what they say about communication. Talk about specific techniques like making evidence-based arguments, adapting your style to your audience, and using active listening. Explain why these are especially important given the issues in the case study, like inconsistent practices or concerns from management. When you're choosing your sources, pick 2 or 3 academic references that really support your analysis. Look for research on influencing skills, evidence-based HR, or professional credibility in HR contexts. Use Harvard referencing for everything, author and year. And remember, paraphrase instead of quoting directly. That way, you make the most of your word count. Always link your sources clearly to your key analytical points. It's also vital to connect theory directly to the scenario. For example, if the case study mentions a lack of standard procedures or inconsistent management, talk about how this makes clear, confident HR communication even more important. You might think about using specific examples from the scenario, like untrained team managers or staff turnover, to show the real-world impact of your arguments. If you want to aim for top marks, here's what you need to remember. Focus on depth, not just covering lots of points. Pick the most relevant arguments and explore them thoroughly. Support every point with evidence, consider different perspectives, and show that you're thinking critically about both the theory and the practical challenges in the scenario. Your conclusions should be well justified and show you understand the complexity of the situation. Let's talk about writing style. Be selective and purposeful. Each paragraph should focus on a single aspect of the question. Stay tightly structured and avoid repeating yourself. Read back over your work to check for clarity, logical flow, and whether you've stuck to the word limit. Every sentence should help answer the question or strengthen your analysis. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please hit like and subscribe, and check out the other videos in this series for more tips on tackling your assessments.